Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Thinking Club. It's me, Jules, with Liz and Michael. Hope you're good. You guys all right?
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. A lot's been going on. Now, we begun this podcast at the start of the pandemic, and we knew initially that this was something grander than just the initial time and place. We live in the now, of course. That's all there ever is. However, when you follow the dots, anybody prior to the pandemic that was labeled a conspiracist or understood the ruling global agenda of control agenda, I suppose you will take a lot from this episode. We've come together because we enjoy having conversations openly, honestly, and as one of the people, and when I say one of the people, we are the ones who are the base of the mountain. If you take a look at a mountain and see the stone at the top, does it believe it is more important than the stones that form the base? Far from it. Now, we as the foundation must make some noise, must speak louder, because currently what we are allowing is too much to get let go, too much to pass, too much to be like, it will sort itself out. It's not going to sort itself out. So the first thing tonight that I'd like to address is recently the UK has had a lot of frustration, and I believe it's been channeled to the wrong people. What I'm talking about is the riots, where frustration of working people believe that the immigration, they believe that they don't have a voice anymore. They believe that their country is being overrun by different cultures that don't understand the laws, don't understand the rules. And I would like to have a conversation about this. Liz, Michael, have you seen some of the footage of the riots that happened recently?
Yeah.
You understand why it started?
Yep.
So.
Go ahead, let's talk about it. So a lot of people who were rioting got behind the notion that young children were murdered. You know, it's an outrage. However, I believe that there was some truth that was missed in the message. Because what I believe was that frustration that they had or still have was channeled towards a mass of people wrongly. We've spoke about this in previous episodes, how an individual can tar all with the same brush. And we know that's not fair. So my point is that if you have something to say, you can say it. But there is no need to violently outburst and run rampage on innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it gets out of hand, isn't it? It's like pretty much, I mean, I've said this many times, I'm all for a protest. But I kind of think that there's a lot of shills in there that start smashing stuff up. And then it just gets that momentum. And then normal people that wouldn't normally smash stuff up see that it's fun and then start doing it as well. Because when you actually look at it, smashing up random people's shops and cars isn't going to do anything. All you're going to do is ruin the lives of those people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with looting and damaging people's properties. You know, there were people that had their cars smashed up. There were people assaulted, innocent people just walking down the road assaulted. I don't agree with any of that, but I do believe that we should have the right to protest and peacefully protest. And I do believe that it could have been dealt with in a different way. However, equally, when it comes to children, I can't watch things and I don't really like hearing about things that happen to children because it really does affect me. And this particular event that happened, I couldn't sleep because you imagine it happening to yourself, and you put yourself in those poor people's shoes that had to deal with that horrendous situation that should never have happened. And so I can completely understand the outrage. I can completely empathize with the frustration. But I don't think that we're going to effectively get what we want, and our message isn't going to be conveyed properly if we go about it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But we are human, and humans do, and humans will react and incorrectly, and and there will be consequences, and there are. And I don't agree with the consequences of the Prime Minister with regards to what he's doing with regards to convicting the people that have been at the riots. There's people that were just standing on the street saying words and shouting at the police and saying, you need to sort this country out, and they've been arrested and remanded in custody, and they're sentenced for 20 months for saying words.
I agree with you, Liz, in regards to the children. I've had this conversation with a friend quite soon after the riots happened, and I said to him, if anybody touched any of my family, killed any of my family, if I was in court and the judge looked at me and the jury looked at me and, were about to sentence me, I'd turn around and say, for your sake, I hope you're not in my position one day. Because before you pass your judgment, before you pass your sentence on me, you got kids? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we should always protect the children. And I also,
one day, if it ever happened to you and you're where I am, just remember this day. Remember that, you know what I mean? Because you can't tell me that you wouldn't, and you can't tell me what you would do because you're not in that position.
This is the thing. If it were their children that were being harmed, when they're sort of out doing, children activities and having fun, then maybe they would have a look at the situation in this country, and maybe they would listen to what the frustrations of the people of this country. And there is a continuous issue, and we can't hide behind what we have hidden behind for so long, where we are trying to make sure that we say the right thing, do the right thing by everybody. It's not working. And we do have an issue with mass immigration in this country, whether we like it or not. It doesn't make us racist for saying it. It doesn't make us horrible for saying it. It is a fact that we do. And unfortunately, if we're going to allow so many people in on a daily basis, not knowing where they're from, there are going to be crimes that are committed. There's crimes that are committed from people that are already here.
One thing that we must ensure is said, and I won't just sit back and say that people are not racist. People are racist. That is something that I am not afraid to tell people that they are, because there's one thing for sure, that some people who have underlying insecurities where they take it out on others, that is racism, because of the differences that make you insecure. Now, what you must also appreciate is there are some who know that they are weak and they will not openly say they are racist. So instead, they use any other cause to take out their racism. And that is something that I also will address. It is not good enough. You are better than that. You must be better than that. Any time that any individual turns around and thinks they have some sort of moral high ground or some sort of entitlement because of their heritage, let it go. That is not you that done that. It isn't you. You cannot start waving the flag for a country you've never fought for. When did you decide to join the forces to help the immigration problem? When? When did you? Because if you haven't,
well, a lot of,
I'll tell it how it is. A lot of people will riot and start fighting the police, yet they're not willing to join the police to help do the job that they are so frustrated with. They believe it is someone else's job to do and then get frustrated about how they're not doing it well. Okay, if that be the case, step up.
The problem is, though, the police can't that the police aren't able to really do their job anymore, because it's not even, they have no power, because it's the people above them that give them orders and tell them what to do. They just follow orders. And I know that from the experience that I have from the work that I did with the police. It's very difficult. The organisations are difficult because, you know, and the problem is, the other frustration is when you see the two-tier policing in this country we do have. So, you know, when you're convicting certain people for crimes that are, you know, okay, protesting or shouting in the street, but then you're not convicting paedophiles and be bailed or on suspended sentences, and they're not getting convicted. It's like, what's going on in this country? Because surely we should be making sure that the most vulnerable and the youngest and the children are protected. And if we're not doing that as a society, we are really failing. If we're just going to be, you know, blasé about the things that really are causing issues in this country, which is, like, before we came on, where we were talking about money and we were talking about the cost of living. You know, people are literally at boiling point.
Yes. When the threshold is met, that is when the final straw on the camel's back, so to speak. But as a nation, the United Nation, the United Kingdom, is what it should be. Unfortunately, it is very fragile, the trust between your neighbor and yourself. There was a time when we were united. There was a time. It's hard because some people do not know who to trust now. I find myself walking down the street constantly having to prove my innocence, as if I'm walking guilty because of my skin color, because of the judgment, because of the poison mind, the poisonous media who portray certain people however they want to, using clever wording or pictures and the smokes and mirrors. However, the violence on our streets is caused by people who cause it. It is not it isn't like we're at war. You know, most people who go about their day are, I would like to say, safe. More safe than we've ever been in the history of our existence. However, you'll go home, put on the TV and see violence. You'll be entertained by it. You'll bask in it. However, that is poisoning the mind. There are movies of the past that people relish in, and they want to embody it now. Why? That is done. That doesn't exist now. You're creating a world of the past is done. Let it go. That is no longer how we exist. Go outside. Speak to your neighbor. Go outside. See. Now, if you go outside and see horrific events, then yes, you are witnessing that. And that is the time when you must call to arms. That is the time. But it isn't something you should create because of your own agenda, because it doesn't exist. You get what I mean?
Oh,
let's imagine that your neighbor's absolutely fine. Let's imagine you could have a street party. Let's imagine that you can invite all races, for all cultures to come together and share culture. That exists. That exists.
However,
right. However,
we've way past that.
Right, but if you have an agenda to go out and cause destruction between your neighbors, you are the problem. The problem didn't exist because it didn't exist. You created it. So there are a lot of people who are willing to march the streets, screaming, shouting, raving, get drunk, disorderly, cause havoc, cause rampage. You are creating a problem. You are creating the drama, the disparity, the distrust. Don't you see? Because it wasn't there before you came. Now, what was there was obviously what we highlighted, the murder of these children. The security needs to get locked down. We must do better. We must.
Well, we need to know. We need to know who's coming into the country. And we also need to know, even when you move to an area, you need to know if there's paedophiles living in the area. You need to know if there's, it's a safe place. You don't, when you look for a place to live, you don't go and to a dangerous place, do you? You find out, you're like, okay, what's it like? What's the crime rate? What's this? What's that? So we need to kind of do that now for the whole of the nation, because kids cannot be walking down the street, getting stabbed in the street. You know, within the space of a week, I have heard, and I actually had to switch my phone off for a bit. In the space of a week, I heard of young girls getting killed. Then I heard of a mother and child walking down the street, just got stabbed by, a guy. And then there was kids at a festival getting stabbed. And then there's other people in the street getting attacked, people getting attacked on buses. It's like, why is it suddenly normalized? I feel like it's normal now, which is so wrong to say and to feel, that it's normal for that to be happening. It's like, it's become like continuous. It's like, well, will we have a day where we don't hear about it?
You'll never not hear about it, because it is, I believe, a lot more common than people realize.
Yeah.
I grew up in Luton Town, and it was very known that people would carry weapons to protect themselves. It was a resort of self-defense. I remember I almost got jumped once. And I say almost because at the time I carried a weapon. And I said to the people that were about to jump me, you're most likely going to win, but one of you is getting fucked up. One of you. I know I can't take all three of you, but one of you is getting it. 100%. And because I was able to defend myself, they didn't jump me, because none of them were willing to take the risk. Now, rightly or wrongly, some would say, well, whatever. Say whatever you will. You weren't there. You didn't grow up there. You didn't live that. So don't judge, because you weren't there. But I'm speaking from my personal experience. Growing up in that town shaped me as an individual. However, growing up in that town, it was a very multi-diverse town. It taught me the beauty of all culture. Everybody. And we were all very accepting. It's not that you can't find order. It's not that. There is order. It's always when somebody disrupts the order. But if we take a look at what you just said, Liz, about location and choosing where to live, Michael, if you've got anything to say, man, I know you're pretty patient, but if you just jump in, yeah.
I was just going to say we should turn our country like other countries do, that you need certain criteria to get into the country.
100% agree.
So a job already sorted out, clean history. I worry every day about getting a criminal history just in case I can't go to America.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so good. Like when customers come in causing a fuss, I literally, like when they're getting aggressive, and I get a lot of aggressive customers, and I hold back just because I don't want a criminal record.
Yeah.
So we should do the same thing. We should have the right people in. If you're over this country for like 5 years and you do a terrible act, you get some back.
Yeah. We have to have,
get like a pre-visa or something like that. So
yes,
all other countries do it. It's only because we haven't done it.
Yeah.
That if we now do it, we're now racist.
Yeah.
No bullshit. We don't have enough money in this country to cover everybody we have at the moment, while also paying for everyone else that wants to come in. Because all that's going to happen is our people that are already here are going to have less funds to play with, and then we're just getting worse and worse and worse.
I've got a friend who she has a son, and she's been trying to get housing, and she's been living in a caravan in a field for nearly a year, and she has been trying and appealing and contacting MPs, trying to get help, trying to get on lists, trying to get a property, and she has been told completely and honestly by certain organisations and the people that she has meetings with, that you're literally going to be at the bottom of the list for a long time. And she's getting frustrated, and she's like, why am I not getting any help? And they've said, we have to help other people that are coming here way before we can help you. You're already here. And she's like, but I'm in a caravan which I can't live in any longer, in the middle of a field, and she will not get helped. She doesn't have the resources to go private rent because everything's just shot up. Everything is shooting up. Well, everybody's bills, rental, everything. But she's just being disregarded. She's been told, we literally can't help you. You're not the right criteria to be helped. We don't see you as in need.
I joked a few years ago, and I've joked a few times about getting a citizenship in another country, waiting a little while, and then getting a citizenship back here as an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get everything paid for. I'm in a country I want to live in. I get everything I want as an immigrant, and I don't have to work.
It shouldn't even be a joke. It shouldn't even be a joke, because that's the thing. Our policies and our laws and, the way the country is run is being mocked, and it has been taken advantage of. And the problem is, we should always be, like I said, we should look after the vulnerable and the children. We should be looking after our own. We're sending money off to all these different countries that are participating in war and, weapons and all of this, and which is just causing destruction. Yet there's people this winter, the elderly people and the vulnerable people, people, families on low incomes, that will starve, that will literally die from hypothermia because they won't be able to put their heating on, and they will just be left. And it's like, instead of sending our money to lots of different places, maybe we should concentrate on looking after our own first. And they say, if you want to change the world, start at home, start local.
I do not disagree with you at all. And I know charity is very important, but a small country as we are, I suppose we have done a fair amount over the years, to the point where the frustration is, I'll use a metaphor to explain. Let's imagine that we have a local pub that we all go to, and every time we go there, we've been paying our bar tab, but we're not paying the tab because we're taking from it then paying it back. We've been paying to it just so at any time we want, we can go to the bar and get a drink. But let's imagine someone comes into that pub and just goes to the bar and has a drink on us. They haven't put anything to the bar. Okay. Cheers. Charity, good health. Enjoy the drink. However, in the case of your friend Liz in the caravan, she's going to the bar and they are refusing to serve her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something I cannot agree with.
Yeah, because there's other people in front of her that will get looked after far better.
Me as a veteran, I can honestly say that if it weren't for the charities of veterans, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. I most likely would be in a very difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
I fought for the country, served 2 tours, Afghanistan. And, sometimes I ask myself, rightly or wrongly, did I do what I did? And it was for multiple reasons. Multiple. But one thing is for sure, is I would like to think that I was fighting for my family. When my granddad came over here then many years ago, he was fighting for me in his own way, and he obeyed, got with the program, learnt the language, got a job, worked his way through all the fickle way it was back then just to get where he's at. And, I suppose he'd be very upset now to hear that, our country's falling apart. Simply because what was in place worked. However, for some reason, very recently, the last few years or however long, it's all coming a bit undone. Now, what is important to remember is we need to stop blaming each other. Going out and fighting, causing riots, taking it out on innocent people is not going to solve the problem. They are not the problem. If you believe for 1 second that somebody just because of their religion is the problem, or somebody just because of their skin color is the problem, you're wrong, because it isn't that. And that needs to stop. Do not hide your insecurity like that. If you're going to come out and do it, come out and do it. And if that's your way of doing it, then yeah, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get banged up. You're going to get labeled for all the things that are causing disruption and destruction that is completely irrelevant to what we are highlighting now. But what you can't do is mix the two. Oil and water do not mix. We're trying to cleanse the country with water. Stop bringing that oil. Don't think we don't know. Don't think we don't see it. And don't try and hide, because we know what it is. And I'm not afraid to call you out, because we'll call you out. What do you think this is? You think people are going to sit silent and just accept that? We're not going to accept that. We're a nation of people trying to build a stronger nation of people. If you're one of those people who wants to come along and try and destroy just because of your insecurities and isms, we'll find you. We'll call you out. You're 100%. Keep it to yourself. Keep it inside it. Deal with it. I'm just going to say that because that's something that's really upsetting me as a veteran of this country, a citizen of this country, a man of this country. We are much more stronger, united. You've got to let that shit go. If you want to rectify the problems, we have to work together. Get past all that shit that generations before us have ruined minds. Cannot tar all with the same brush.
It's all divisive. Like we know the game that's played. They play it well. The powers that be, they do, in causing the divisiveness. And we've just got to focus on, the issues. And like you said, standing united, Jules.
One of our very first episodes, Liz, and I'll never forget this, by the way. You said the words, and I put them on the whiteboard at the time. You said, where there is unity, there is victory.
Absolutely. And I believe that.
I've never, ever not forgot that.
No. And that's why the whole divisive, it's the oldest trick in the book.
Right.
We are the United Kingdom. So we have to stand united, and we have to stand up against the bad that is happening, and, making sure that our country, is great. It is Great Britain. Not letting it be turned into a country we don't recognise.
Going past that, not just the United Kingdom, the whole world. I don't really understand how we're in this year and we've still got isms. Like, what is the fucking point of them?
But consider this, Michael. Obviously, when you travel to different worlds, when I say different worlds, different countries, they do have their own laws, their own way of living. Some people like it, some people don't. Like, if you were legally allowed to have 7 wives in 7 compounds, and you like the idea of that, you can move there.
Then, yeah, move there.
Right, right. But this is
don't like the racists that are in this country.
This is the point I'm making. That because there is a law, the laws of this country are normally why people like to be here. We've got quite a good law system here.
It's not always respected.
It protects,
and it's not always. We haven't got a good law system. So many people get away with so much shit. No.
So
much I watch people do so much random shit and they don't get anything for it.
Yeah.
And then a good guy does something a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
And they get fucked for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is obviously illegal and there is unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, some people do illegal things or unlawful things. So the unlawful things you witness, Michael, and people are getting away with, it happens on all scales. Unfortunately, I think that's human nature. But the laws we have that have been established over time, I do believe they should still be upheld.
They should be.
Yeah, they should not. That's the problem.
I believe that why a lot of people want to come to this country is because of our laws.
Mm-hmm. And because it was a really safe country. It was a really safe country.
Have you ever heard of the Magna Carta?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that, I'm happy to have heard of, happy to have known of. Like, it's very important.
And a lot of people come here because of the human rights laws. So I do agree with you about, the the laws and the rights, and that is an attraction to, I think, to a lot of people, because once they're here, you know, they kind of can use that against us. Really, they can use our own laws against us.
So we need to be, I suppose, which a lot of people are fighting for, the tougher immigration. Like Michael said, if they would just put a cap on.
It's not racist saying that. It's not. You know, when I used to do my volunteer.
I don't understand why people are getting defensive about this racist thing. It's not racist. No, we know it's not.
Say that we're concerned that there's a mass immigration, and we on a daily basis, and you know, the resources in this country that the taxpayers are paying into are literally being bled dry, and also you know, people aren't able to get housing because people who are coming here on a daily basis are getting offered it first, and the people that are here that have been waiting. I know that I met several veterans that are homeless. I met them when I worked for the night winter shelter many years ago. There's so many. Whenever I go to London, there's several people on each street homeless.
Yeah.
Now we should be looking after those people. We have organisations, we have charities, we have, you know, government funded companies that will help these people, but unfortunately they don't get helped when they should, because there's people in front of them that are getting helped first, and they're just left.
So these hotels that are housing immigrants should be given to our veterans, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Look after your own first before you start taking. Jules, if you, like, say you lived in a 3-bedroom house and people knocked on your door, you know, and you said, yep, you can stay in that room, you can stay in that room, you can stay in that room. People kept knocking on your door on a daily basis. You'd be like, hold on. You know, you're going to have to share with that in that room, and you're going to have to share that. I can't fit any more in. I can't fit in. But they just keep coming in. You're soon going to be to the point where no one can move in your house. You can't even move to get downstairs. You have to acknowledge that, okay, there needs to be a system in place that works for everybody, but there needs to be a system in place where people who are here and paying into the system, or who have fought for their country, are actually looked at and helped, before people who come here and are just literally given mobile phones, money straight away, you know, emergency funds, clothing. Oh, you can live in this hotel, or you can live in this, you know, 3-story building, 5-story building, whatever.
Okay. Now we've obviously delved into this, hopefully unbiasedly, but I would like now for everybody listening and viewing just to put yourself in the position of someone fleeing a war-torn country. Where would you go? Your family, your children. Where would you go?
That's the problem, though, Jules. When you look at the footage, it's not women and children. It's not it's people coming here knowing they will get given all of these things. I'm not saying that some aren't fleeing war-torn places, because I do believe we should help refugees. We should help people who are in desperate, genuine need.
What's the difference between an immigrant and a refugee?
Well, when you just said their families and fleeing, and, you know, people, it's a risky thing to go into the water.
Oh, yeah.
Life.
Yeah, why would you do that?
These lives. But when there is a system in place where people have created businesses, and these people are paying money to get onto boats to get to a targeted place, so that they because they know they will be given a certain amount of benefits, housing, and when that is advertised to them, and they then, oh yeah, okay, we'll do that. That is different to a refugee fleeing war-torn, and that's what's going on. That's what's actually happening right now.
Now, I want to put you in a position to, again, just to have the thoughts, rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter. We're unbiased. We're just exploring. I invaded another country.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret it. I did it. I live it. I own it. I invaded another country. My orders could have been completely destroy this country, flatten it. We've done this. my second tour of Afghanistan, I remembered the thought, the feeling. If I was born here, I'd be Taliban. You know me, you two. A lot of people know me. You love me. I know. I love me. But the reality of it is, if I was born in Afghanistan, I'd still be what you see before you, no doubt. Innocent of life, we all are. But if I was from a war-torn country and I knew that, yes, another country is offering me a fresh start, clothes, food, a place to sleep, I'm taking my chances. I'm going to get on that boat. I'm going to rough the seas just for the chance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to let people build this hatred towards refugees or immigrants. I'm not going to have it.
No, there shouldn't be hatred, but
you cannot channel the mind to see these people as your enemy.
No,
because they are not.
No, I'm not saying.
What I'm getting at is, a lot of people take out their frustrations and they've justified it in their minds, surrounded themselves with people who influence their thinking, because it's a small pond. If you're part of 10 people around the table and you're all agreeing the same thing, of course you're going to rally up the thought thinking you're right. But I'm trying to help you understand, if that was you on that other country trying to get here, do you now have empathy? Do you now have sympathy? Just process this.
Of course.
Because you fighting these people, if you want to, go take your guns and your knives and go and stand on the coastline and fight them off, if that's what you want to do, right? But if you're not that type of person, if you do have empathy and you do have sympathy and you understand what I'm saying, where should your energy be channeled towards?
To rectifying and getting solutions to an issue that is getting out of hand.
So let's get something straight, right? Let's get something straight. If you are out there trying to fight immigrants, trying to fight refugees, then you are causing a bigger problem. You're taking your frustration and channeling it the wrong way. Now, if you are telling me that you're going to do that, take your knives, take your guns, stand at the coastline and kill them all before they get here, you should have joined the army. Should have gone to war. There's other ways to do it, right? But what my point is ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't think,
because at the end of the day, a lot of people will turn around and say, because our police aren't doing enough, our government aren't doing enough, right? So that is the people you should be going to war against. That is the people you should be rallying and going against.
Oh, I agree. That's why I'm saying.
This is why, right? But this is why I've tried to highlight, and I'm gonna keep doing it. These people that cause these riots, do not tell me that you haven't got isms. Don't tell me you haven't got insecurities. Do not. Because the truth of the matter is,
I have insecurities, but my insecurities are like, as a kid, I could go out with my friends and roam around anywhere and everywhere. I wouldn't allow my children to do that, because of the things that have happened and that I know about. And also from the time when I worked with the police, and what I saw statistically myself from personal experience, professional experience, I'm too scared. I have insecurities because unfortunately there is no border control in this country, and we don't know who we're letting in, and I don't want something happening that shouldn't, and that wouldn't happen had we had border control.
Now, this individual who murdered these children, and I hate that this is a reality that we're all facing, because it's horrible. This person, was they an immigrant?
Yeah, they were a child of immigrants that came over. Yeah.
Unchecked?
I don't know the full details. I know they were from Rwanda.
But did he have citizenship?
I assume so.
Yeah, if he was born here, he would have.
Anybody that I guess.
He was born here.
Was he born here, Michael?
Oh, I thought you just said he was born there.
No, I didn't say that.
Well,
the
point I'm making is he's been in this country for a while.
Yeah.
So he knows the laws. He knows the rules. He's been here. He went to school here. Right. So the system hasn't failed. It's done its checks. But this individual decided to go off the rails. This individual decided to do something that most agree is fucking horrific, should get the life sentence.
Yeah.
In my opinion, should get tortured by the families. Yeah.
Like that young boy that was killed.
Right. The point is though, everything we have just spoke about, we wouldn't speak about had it not been for this act. However, does he represent every immigrant, every refugee? Does he represent?
No, but this isn't a singular. This isn't just a out of the blue, though, Jules. That's the problem. After there's been each day after that, there's been others, and they
refugees. Okay, let's forget refugees and immigrants for a second. Let's talk about murders.
Yeah.
How many murders do you think happen in our nation's capital per year? Gun crime, knife crime.
A ridiculous amount. And
now, a lot of people would like to say, "Oh yeah, it's that culture, it's them people, it's that color, it's that thing." No, but let's get it right. That is what probably goes through people's minds. It's not us. It's never us.
Well, no, there's
they would glorify gangster movies.
Hey, gang culture.
Yeah,
it's every day.
Right. So the point is,
homicides in 23, 24.
Okay. So I just want to highlight here.
The difference between is that gangs, it's gang against gang. It's not right, but they're known to each other. When somebody who's been allowed to enter the country walks into a school and kills innocent children, or walks into a fun fair or a festival. Only yesterday or 2 days ago, 3 young people lost their lives at a festival. I think it was in Germany. And they went to the refugee shelter and arrested 3 men who committed the act, who were in on it. And the guy that actually stabbed the people and was running around with a knife handed himself into the police.
I'm not here to talk about Germany, but I get what you're saying.
I'm saying
my point is that on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, there seems to be crime everywhere in this country. I know that a lot of people come from this place that they want to be unbiased, in that we need to, protect our own. It's our own that are causing a lot of the problems. Our own are stabbing each other. Our own are doing this drama.
Sorted
I can't even call it gang culture. There's a lot of people, however you want to describe gangs, like people. You're either one of them or you're not. You're either doing it or you're not. Now, I've already highlighted that I came from a place where I found myself having to defend myself. So I can totally empathize and understand. I can sympathize. If you are living in an environment that dictates you have to do certain things that are completely against your moral compass for survival, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But one thing is for sure.
Shouldn't be living like that, though.
No, but one thing is for sure. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Don't be that person that thinks you're perfect and that you're from this place and everybody else is bad, everybody else is wrong.
No, there's just majority aren't majority of society aren't. And the thing, like, you wouldn't harm children. You wouldn't go out, Michael. I would. That's not in us to do that, and we wouldn't do it. But unfortunately, there are people out there who would do that and who have done that and who have committed those crimes. And yes, you're right, Jules. There's people every day, every second in this country that are harming each other. And
they're the people that the police deal with. They're the people that we need to support in getting locked down. And you're right, Liz, they should be on the list, or they should be known. We should be right. That's it. Cool. So that's that. However, the underlying frustrations of this nation, that people are finding reasons to take out their frustrations on others, innocent people. I'm asking you to please channel your frustration towards the people who can make the changes, supposed to make the changes. Please stop taking it out on others of this nation. We are a multicultural nation. We do have a lot more in common than we do differences. And we will get stronger again. It will. But we must see beyond what, like you said, Liz, where there's unity, there is victory.
But then that was the whole point of these protests, wasn't it?
This protest, Michael, you call them protests?
Well, part of it was a protest. It started off a protest, and then arseholes got involved that made it a riot.
Right, Michael. There was a peaceful protest, and they were protesting and they were holding vigils for these victims, these young children. And there was a certain amount of people that went along near to the end of it and that ruined it. And that's what you saw on the news.
Can I ask you where that was? What location that was in?
There was Southport, there was Manchester.
No. I'm only asking where they were doing this peaceful march for these young people that were killed. With respect. So there's one location where that happened. How many riots were there?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's get it right. It wasn't in that location, but it was everywhere else. Am I right?
It started there. It started.
So we know that you cannot say they are all this. It's not all one thing. There was a separate thing going on, and then that peaceful march.
What Michael was talking about, it did start like that. It was originally peaceful. There was a minority of people that went there at the end, and then it all got kicked off and violent. And the families and the people that had held this vigil had said, "We didn't want that. Don't bring that here."
Right.
And after that, there were other groups up and down the country that decided to do what they were doing, where there were other places that were saying we stand united with the victims. And again, there were certain groups of people that would go, and there was turmoil, and that was obviously broadcast via the media, and that's what everybody saw. Like,
this is the point. This is the point I'm making, right? This is the point I'm making. Please do not combine the two, water and oil, like I mentioned before. Water and oil don't mix. You've got people that are trying to cleanse, do water, okay, and you've got this groups of people organized, causing riots across the country. What has that got to do with anything that what these other people are dealing with? What has it got to do with? It's nothing. Well, you have your own agenda, and you're using that. You're using
that are reacting and doing what they think. They think that they are representing, and they're angry. So in a way, they are representing a lot of people's feelings. However, they're not. People don't agree with the actions. So we may agree with their feelings towards it, but their actions in the way they're channeling their feelings is not right. I don't agree with smashing up people's businesses. People have got livelihoods. People have got cars. You know, there was one guy I saw. He had his car. He just saved up to pay for his car, and his car was getting jumped on and smashed up by people. And he couldn't go out and protect his car because he would have got jumped.
You know what? After watching the footage of those riots, I wanted to go walk to the 24-hour petrol garage where I live. I wanted to go and get some crisps because I wanted to watch a movie. It was nighttime. I didn't go out my house.
Yeah.
I didn't feel safe enough as a veteran of this country, as a man of this country, but as a man of colour, I didn't feel safe enough to go to that 24-hour garage because should an individual of that mind, of those rioters, cross paths with me, he ain't going to ask me, did you serve for my country? He ain't going to ask me that. He's going to see me and he's going to think something. I want to know. I'm not going to put myself in a position to even chance it. Not in the dark, not at nighttime. Whereas prior to these riots, I quite happily walk. I felt quite safe in my neighborhood before then.
Well, just like I completely understand what you're saying, but I've seen the footage of several of these riots, and there were diverse people rioting and cultures.
What if I told you I'm Muslim? And I'm not just speaking to you, Liz and Michael. I'm speaking to the viewers. What if I told you I was Muslim?
Well, it's irrelevant.
Precisely.
When you said about going out, I didn't even think about your colour either.
And harm people.
I was going to go, why?
It's not something. It's not something you need to think about, Michael. But it's something I do think about. But that's the point. This rioting has shook a lot of people more than they realize. If you want to install the fear, it's like, what more can I do? What more can I do? If
whole two-tier policing, we do have to also highlight, because it wasn't just white people rioting. It wasn't just, there was a diverse, I saw black people rioting. I saw all sorts of different colour and creed rioting, but also we have to highlight the Asian and the Muslim people that did go to the streets, took to the streets, and they were walking around with swords and hammers, and that was highlighted on the news. There was a lady, a presenter, actually standing there live at one of the riots, and walking behind her were about 12 men, and they were all walking around with machetes, right live on live TV, and they were all...
Weren't there ones protecting the houses though?
Well, I don't know. They were stopping and jumping people on cars that were white, and they were like, get him out, let's kill him.
Because the one I saw, there was people saying, right, they reckon right's going to come here, and we're going to protect ourselves.
Yeah, there was that as well, but the same with the white guys as well. There was guys that were standing there outside their businesses, and they got arrested and were accused of being rioters when they weren't. They were standing outside their businesses with their arms folded, like what you said, Jules. You would defend yourself. And
I wonder if those rioters would attack white men standing by their shops. I wonder if those rioters would attack white men standing by their shops.
And if you get into the mindset that you're going to riot anyway, I think you're just going to attack anyone.
End of the day, from a position of observation of the news, we have to understand this.
Yeah, it's manipulative.
My point is that, rightly or wrongly, things happen. We do things. We live in situations. It causes us to be a certain way. So it isn't that I don't understand how the mind would work to cause the action. I totally do. But my point and the underlying truth of it all is we've got to come together and channel the frustration to the thing that can make the change. We do know that taking it out on your neighbor ain't going to fix the problem. It's going to cause more problems. We know this. We do know that if you were in the country and you needed the help, you would be coming to people that can provide the help. We know. We also know that we've got people in this country who need help too. Like Liz mentioned, veterans on the street, people in caravans. We know. And we also know that we've been paying the bar tab and people are coming in and they're just drinking from the bar. But my point is that we cannot be taking it out on each other. This nation is on a breaking point. We are so divided, and we cannot be. We've got to come together, and we've got to channel the energy to the thing that can make the change. You've got to understand this. Now, if you need more brothers at arms, please do not close your doors to troops. If you need troops, don't make them turn around and say, I'm not fighting with you. You're a racist. I'm not fighting with you. You're against my religious beliefs. I'm not fighting with you. That is not how it's going to work. You must understand this. You need troops. You need foot soldiers. You need to march together. But if you're divided, you will not conquer. And that's why I wanted to have the conversation. That's why I want to have. That's why I love the ETC. That's why I love you, Liz. That's why I love you, Michael. Because it's real. We represent we represent all, really. Michael being white British male, me being black British male, Liz being mixed female of different countries, being,
bloody yank.
Oi.
I believe that the people can come together.
So
we just
we
need a stronger banner.
Yeah, we do.
One that doesn't divide.
We need systems, and we do need unity, more unity, less division. And we need to get back to a time where we remember, what we're about, what we stand for, what, I hear a lot of people say that they want to leave the UK. The UK is not what it was, and they're not proud of their country, and that saddens me. That I think is really, we need to get back to a time where we are proud, and we are a welcoming country, and we need to actually show and represent the united in the United Kingdom. And I just feel like we're not. And I just feel like I don't even feel like sometimes when I go to certain places in the UK, I don't recognise it as the UK. But then I go to some places and I'm like, oh, I love this country. It's beautiful. And our ancestors fought for this. Every single one of us on here now has a grandparent that fought for our freedoms and for us to live the way we live now. And that is worth keeping and standing up for.
What we need is a government that cares about us and not money.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. You could not have said that any better.
That's the point exactly, Michael. I believe that the energy and frustration of the people needs to be represented for the people properly. Back to the metaphor of the mountain. The foundation is where the strength is.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the foundation is crumbled and weak and cracked, it will not. It will fail, it will fall. Plus, there's been too much violence. It's too much violence.
It's it's just too frequent, and it's too normalized. I don't like it.
The worst part about being a man and being a veteran too is the understanding of violence. It's horrible. You cannot buy brotherhood. The only place to find brotherhood is war. I don't care what anybody says. True brotherhood. I mean that. The only place where women find true sisterhood is when men go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sat and thought with this for a long time. There was a moment in my existence when there was this cry out on the internet, women screaming, where's all our strong men gone? All this and that. Where do you think those men are bred? Where do you think that hard times create hard men? Where do you think for a long time we've been trying to cope by living peacefully, happily, love, light? I found spirituality to get me through the tough times. But recently it's almost like the tide has changed. The call to war is back. Can't just be that light anymore. Sometimes we've got to get our boots strapped up,
I do believe things sometimes, like we've said before, they have to get worse before they get better. And we're at that crossroads. That's where we're at.
Well, Liz, Michael, is there anything else you want to say before we bring this episode to an end?
I would just like to say that we should, the two things that I always say, protect the children, always, and together we are stronger.
Definitely. Michael?
If you can honestly look in the mirror and say your any-ism properly, go kill yourself.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here with us on the ETC. And no doubt this conversation will continue. We will most likely be delving more into a lot of this and in future episodes, because I believe now we've got to do it more. So thank you for joining us on this journey. Liz, Michael, it's good to see you again. Good to have.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And 100. So from me, Liz and Michael, everybody everywhere, peace and love. All right, Liz, Michael, do you want to know what's special about today?
Thank God you did it out of pants.
Just really quickly, and I know that's quite a serious episode, but it's actually International Lottery Day.
Is it?
Oh, I didn't look at the lottery today. Euros,
That's right.
88 million.
83% of UK residents play the national lottery. Quite interesting to know. It's also Crab Soup Day.
What?
Crab Soup.
These random things.
Crab Soup Festival in Nicaragua.
Where is that? I feel like I know. Why don't
Nicaragua.
I know?
I think it's like near Mexico.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it's celebrating the abolishment of slavery of that country, which is pretty good celebration. So anyway, Crab Soup Day. It's also Independence Day for Moldova from the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Independence Day.
It's also National Just Because Day. So just because.
I know that.
Yeah, any reason to do anything, to celebrate anything, just because. It's just because, you know. You wanna wear your trousers backwards, go ahead. Just because. You wanna wear odd socks, yeah, just because, you know.
I'm gonna go downstairs naked.
Yeah, just because.
Feel good, you do that.
Just because.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
It's also National Petroleum Day. So the reason for that is it's meant to bring awareness to just basically highlight the incredible resource that is petroleum. Had it not been for the discovery of it, using it, industrial revolution, like it's catapulted us as a species really to evolve. And it's just to make, I know there's a lot of conversations about petrol and all that, but really we wouldn't be where we are now had it not been for it. So I think it's National Petroleum Day to bring awareness to that. And the final thing is it's National Pot de Creme Day. So if you like custard in a pot, that's basically what that is, but it's just posh custard in a pot.
Is that the one with the burnt top?
Yeah, go on, Michael. With a little bit of cream on there. Yeah, a little bit of sprinkles. You get it on there. That's you, man. Enjoy it.
I'm a huge fan of cream, guys. Sorry.
You're not, or you are?
No, I'm not.
I'm not a fan of like, well, you know, I don't, any dairy, no dairy for me.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult. But at the same time, when it's the alternative, I'm all over it. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Give me that. I'll have it. Oh, latte, 100%. You got like, you know, vegan ice cream. I'm on it, man. I ain't playing.
I got vegan drink today.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Mango. Yeah, man.
I love
aloe vera.
Aloe vera is so good.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So it's mango juice, but with aloe vera bits.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit of an internal cleanse there, Michael. Go on, man.
I've been drinking them all week. And I've been eating salads all week as well.
Your skin looks great. It's working.
It's doing your thing, mate. Younger.
New model? No.
Oh.
Liz, Michael, thank you for joining us. And viewers, thank you for joining us. So that is all from me, Liz, and Michael on this episode. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. You know what to do. Look forward to future episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. So yes, from me, Liz, and Michael, everyone everywhere, peace and love.